Good morning, everybody. Well, another gap unfilled, little spurt in the morning yesterday. And it came down to this prior high and it stabilized. So buyers are still aggressive. With any gap, we look to the left. And so you see that level there. And then the question is, does it begin to stabilize there? Now, since it did have a 3-day consolidation, it seemed reasonable that it might hold that, but most of the time, let's say a less aggressive environment, it would have come down to these pivots there, fill the gap, and then up and away. Especially with all those pivot lows down below being support. But buyers continue to be very aggressive. And just scroll back here. It's got the overnight data, but you can see as it jiggled around on the 5-minute there, and then straight up, and then just a big mess throughout the trading day going sideways, and most markets were that way. It was a little bit of a grind. Kept getting rejected. This got close to the 500, and SPX got within 11 cents of 5,000. A little narrow range day, trying to bump its head up there, and it just couldn't do it. We'll see if today's the day. The strikes lifted from 5,000 to 5.25. They got to, as I mentioned yesterday, if you're going to do it, better to get above the 5,000 to have a little bit of a cushion. And even at the end of the day, in the last, I don't know, I mentioned in the green room, right, that they were still buying 5,000 call strikes. I think at the end of the day, there was like 140,000 contracts expiring at the end of the day. So a lot of money betting 5,000 and above went to zero. And it's interesting to watch that if you haven't, whereas I think in the last 20 minutes or so, those options were about $1. And then slowly, the first initial drop to 50 cents and then slowly eroded to zero. But, that's the game. Anyway, so today there's a premium at 5.25. Things are down a little bit. Well, actually, kind of unchanged, not really doing much, just flip-flopping around. You can see where it's at there, about unchanged. So today, the day, it's built a base and a little consolidation there. And there's a lot of wait and see for what. Not so sure. Got a few things gapping up that should help, but we'll see where it goes. And Europe at all-time highs. Well, I don't know if that matters. It usually follows our market, but the dollar's up a little bit, the euro's down a little bit. You can see the euro, and we're just waiting. I think, after going sideways after a drop like that, the next drop to happen, and should that occur, the dollar going up, and we're still waiting to see what are interest rates going to do. Went down a little bit, came back up. They're doing pretty much nothing this morning, but holding at resistance, which is bullish, but still, which way is it going to go? Could still break lower or break higher. So we set alerts, see what starts to move the markets. NASDAQ 100, that gapped up. It didn't go very far. And so when you have, a consolidation, especially one like this, where it's at resistance, it tries to dip and buyers come back up again. It tries to dip, buyers come back up again. And, this, it dipped down after it gapped up, and it closed well. So is the market's buyers getting tired here? Maybe. still, uptrend. It broke these highs. So at this point, it could break today's low. That really wouldn't be a big deal. But you don't want to see it break the low of those bottoming tail bars. So that's a pretty significant level after going sideways at resistance like that. So send alert, see what happens. Transports moved up, hit the pivot there to the left and backed off. Overall constructive. Weekly chart, bottoming tail bar, green so far this week. Couple of more days. That's looking good. Dow, cash, gapped up, didn't go anywhere. A lot of overlapping bars, kind of a mess. But as we condense it, weekly chart, assuming a close like that, I guess it's got to get over that high and then new all-time highs. We'll see. Put a stop under these lows. Not a stop. If you're long, I guess you put a stop under those lows. Put an alert there. You don't have to watch it. Just want to be aware if it does start coming down. SMH looks like it should go higher. Going again sideways at resistance. It's not moving very much, up a little bit. Looks like maybe it could go to 200. We'll see if things start moving this morning. Of course, Bitcoin looks good. All right, we talked about this little kind of wedge, big wide range bar up and little, I don't know, call it a wedge, call it a flag, call it whatever you want, green bar like that. If it cleared the highs, looking for it to move up. Now, moving up here, that's where it should go. It's moving this morning. So, Bitcoin related stocks should be on the move higher today. Interesting. Gold is still nowhere. Just dropping back and forth nowhere. Silver's coming closer to the bottom of the range. Just working its way down, and it'll continue to do that as long as the dollar holds up. Crude oil, as you can see, is up here a little bit. It got close. That's why support always has to be looked at as an area. So it got close coming down here to these pivots. Buyers stepped up. So whether it's just a short-term trade off of support, maybe it gets to the middle of the range. It'll be interesting what it does because nasty wide range bar down, momentum move on a smaller time frame. Buyers should come in sellers, I should say, should come in somewhere around here, give or take. There isn't very much to the left there. It cleared these pivots. So, yeah, kind of like where I put that line, you can see the minor resistance over there on the hourly time frame. So somewhere in here. This tends to be subjective as a reference point, but anyone looking at a chart is aware of it and will be thinking, if they bought here to sell something up there. Copper hasn't been doing well for a while. We usually don't cover copper, but that hasn't been doing well for a while. You can see, the drop there. So anyway, copper going down, industrial metal, markets don't really care. Sometimes it's a good heads up. Pay attention to that, and steel and aluminum, those kind of metals. So markets, what they're doing. Are they tired? I think so. Momentum slows down, but they don't break any support. Consolidations as they were yesterday, not much happening after that. This is the ETF for the transports. There's more stocks in there. So, Uber did well and a few others. So that's moving up. And you see the difference between, TRAN and the ETF, but this is coming up into resistance as well there. So something to consider. And other than that, we'll see if the markets can get moving today. I said, Semiconductors, which have been lagging, look like they could go up. You got a red bar ignored. You can send an alert under that bar's low or even under yesterday's low because it's a little bit of a range expansion bar. It really should not break below that low. You know, what we always do is see a green bar like that after a red bar, even though it doesn't really count, let's say, technically as a range expansion bar, wide range bar. I mean, it's bigger than, say, that bar. And over here, we'd say, oh, that jumps out. That's a wide range bar. But, ideally, any dip that this might have stays in the upper half and then it goes up. So, keep an eye on Applied Materials, of course, NVIDIA, KLAC, and we'll see what happens there. And so I think a little bit of a wait and see what they're going to do. I'm just flip flopping over here. The Dow's not doing anything, bounce off of the low. It's at resistance, a trading range. So, I really don't see anything here that says, hey, this is, looks like a great opportunity that things could make some kind of a significant move. And even things that do, like an SMH, that do look like they could go higher. This hanging here, you got to be aware, because if this should clear or hit that 4.2 and start going above it, and the dollar doing what it's doing, I think the markets, as they have in the past, are going to take note of that, and things may start to sell off. So we'll see what happens. Right now, just a lot of kind of walking on eggshells, bullish eggshells, and we'll see which way it goes. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Having an alarm right now on TMX. Don't have many alarms going off. Look at earnings, of course. I guess I had a Delta alarm go off. Nice 1, 2, 3. So that's interesting. Coming from a base. I love all those converging MAs. With me, alarm went off. We nailed, we hit a couple Bitcoin related stocks yesterday. Bitcoin's went above 45,000 this morning. So this is a monster W bottom. I posted it during MT Live. My alarm went on. We got into block, ether. My alarm went off. It looks higher. Nice 15-minute chart. Mr. Another Bitcoin related thing. Sloppy, but nice retest. Yesterday we did pivots, right? On MT Live. So nasty power downtrend. Now this isn't marked as a major pivot because it doesn't have the 3 lower highs to the left, but it's still in the old days we used to call it a minor pivot, whatever. It's a big old focal point. And so it exceeded that bottoming tail, range expansion. So that's why this was on my long watch list. Void. And the up alarms going off. All right, earnings now. PayPal getting whacked here. Big gap. I looked at Square yesterday because of PayPal, and we actually sold a put spread in this. But this one is getting his sea legs back. So this one is superior on daily, weekly, monthly to PayPal. Same with Uber, had earnings yesterday. Uber is eating Lyft's lunch, daily, weekly, monthly. Remember we had that MT Live about, we call it the A/B test in the green room. I always look at, the competitors. Like Disney, beautiful big gap. We said right over here in this bear sandwich that it was a nice bottoming, daily, weekly. And that That was the entry right there when we talked about it. But nothing to do now. All right, IG, let me send those to myself and get through earnings here. I also posted a huge list of credit spread watches. CFLT. This is one we shorted the $18 puts into earnings. So that is a monster gap up. Wow. But that's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. You know, all starting here with this red barred Nord. Nice pattern. So that's working good. I sent out an alert saying, hey, just bid 2 cents, close it because it's expiration next week. Otherwise, I would say a penny. All right, and this Cody, I have an alarm at 12:40. Well, no, we don't need an owner's manual. Talk to Greg. I know he has trouble pronouncing it. This, if it'll, let's set an alarm right here, 1858. Because this is a breakdown candidate. If it negates the small gap up. NWSA, these little new stocks, I notice we're gapping up big. Mattel, gapping up a little. Yeah, not a great long, but put spread. Gapping down, 1951, no pattern. Oscar, we nailed this little bull flag right here on Oscar. Had a beautiful gain out of that. And wow, look how this range expansion bear sandwich started this move. Right at the rising 20, rising 50. Wind gapping up, but no pattern for me. Malink, I don't know what's going on with this. It gapped down yesterday, but then it said it was earnings today, and it's not moving. Something weird is going on with that thing. Like G Pro. This is the one I think of this rally. Somebody was predicting a buyout, but it looks like garbage. Whoever's thinking of buying it, I'll bet can get a cheaper price. FR topping pattern. I have an alarm at 50.55. That's a tier 1 short if it opens flat or up a little. So I need help from green room folks. On my tier 1s, I can only watch so much. Extra onion. Mick gap in the 508 call spread candidate. 30-minute low, same with PayC, gapping under this entire base, very ugly. PYCR, gapping at 19, 30-minute low, short. EFX 229, call spread. Dodge, if you can help me on some of these, that's a beautiful, I'll put it here, call spread candidate, maybe 10-minute low. It's a judgment call. How long are you going to wait on an earnings gap? 2 minutes, 5, 10, 15? I don't know. Put it in a 5-minute window and let's watch it. All right, this gap's too big, but to these prior lows, we'll see what it does. Mixie, there, Dodge, beautiful call spread candidate. I don't see any prints though. But if it is opening at 104, beautiful call spread candidate, 10-minute low. Yeah, write these down, please. I can't watch them all. Mick. Bath. No pattern, no gap. Willius, gap's too big, but 30-minute low could go to the 200. STE. We shorted puts on this, and it said earnings were yesterday. and I can't see any friggin' prints. So I don't know what's going on with this, but I'll be monitoring it at the open, of course. I'm actually bidding 10 cents. I always put an order in. We sold it for about 10. If I can get out for a dime, I'll friggin' take it. Thousand, 1000% agree, Alex. I was bashing the shit out of those companies during the financial crisis of how grossly negligent they are. And that gets us into the entire ethics point of, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. And there's just a built-in conflict of interest for you not to be honest. 1136, possible 30-minute high trade. This one I said if it opened flat or up, I liked it as a long. I have an alarm at 142. That will be a great long 30-minute high. Let me put it in the other computer too so I don't miss it. Alarm 142. And put spread, of course, Dodge. By definition, any directional candidate is a credit spread candidate by definition. Remember Manpower? Pat was telling us that's a racist name. I was looking at puts. That would have worked great. That's a beautiful, beautiful. If Debbie were here, she would tell you about the ascending triangle. Look at that horizontal resistance, higher lows, rising 50, bullish bear sandwich wheat. That's a beautiful pattern right there. I was hoping it would open relatively flat, but gap's too big, messes it up. RDN, that's a junk pattern, but it's a topping pattern. 30-minute low if it opens flat. RPD 53 call spread candidate died. RPD. Orly, no prints, but $1,000 stock extended. Michael Charlie. No, I don't see any gaps. Fleet 274. Excessive gap, but call spread if there's any juice. Form 36. Yeah, it's middle of no man's land. I just had block up alarm. So that we had a nice entry on block. BKH, that's a junk pattern. But 30-minute low, day trade. Asda, nothing. SLF, nice closing breakout in the trading range. Put spread candidate if it opens flat to up, Doug. MMS up 8 cents prior low. You can set an alarm. Well, set an alarm at 78.50. I don't think it's going to get there. Mo, no pattern will come back. MTRX, downtrend, junk, no interest. Kilo November, no gaps. Echo Golf 370, call spread candidate, if there's any juice. SPGI, call spread candidate, Dodge. Look at all these, gapping under all that. I get, here, I'll post this again. I did this an hour ago, so, I'm sure you could modify it a little bit, but close enough for government work. But I went through all the earnings and I added a few that are not earnings, but there's a big old list. All right, SPGI, where did I leave off? Shoot, there we go. Papa Mike. This thing was down worse earlier. But add that to the list. If there's going to be no juice though. Cop, put spread candidate, Duke. This is the one I said. If I have an alarm down here, at 94.80. So that's a 30-minute low short watch. ICE up $2. You can add that to the put spread watch, provided it's tomorrow GTE. Try, no pattern, no gap, TDG extended. Regardless of where TDG opens, 30-minute low, call spread idea, Bravo November. Gap in the 40-60 in a trading range, no interest. APO gapping down here, call 30-minute low, call spread, Hershey. We actually shorted the 187.50s down here and said we would take assignments, so it is gapping against us. We'll just, let it play out for now. KView gapping down, call spread candidate. ARE, no pattern. BCE, no pattern. ZBH, 121. Call spread candidate, if any juice. Tro, put spread candidate. Mike Tango, 28 and change, no pattern. DTE, it's kind of a sloppy W bottom. So I have an alarm up here somewhere, 105.70 with, so that put spread candidate, Dodge. This one, pre-market, I had set an alarm at 48 to see if it could recover. And my alarm did go off. So, it's a buy setup, but, we'll see what it does at 10 a.m. Baxter, I set an alarm at 39.60. To see if it can negate this gap, because it's a beautiful 1, 2, 3 on the daily. And WMG, 37.85. It's bullish. We can watch a pullback. Okay, Kilo 54.80. It's bullish gap with trading range. Delta Tango, big gap down, no interest. SNA, I put an up alarm at 295. Moss was a beautiful closing breakout yesterday. Had this not have been earnings, that I would have bought directional. It's beautiful. Another ascending triangle breakout. Weekly looks beautiful. But now the gap's too big, messed it up. IPG, call spread, Dodge, Kim, no gap. This also we were going to buy as a directional gap breakout. Beautiful, beautiful breakout. I actually had an order to sell 125 puts yesterday at midpoint, and I did not get filled. But I sure tried. Well, didn't try hard enough. ITT, no pattern. Cyber, this sector's been on fire. Look at these MAs, 268. Coming out of a base. Nothing to do with them. All right, those are all my earnings trades. These are some leftovers. Par, wide range bar, closing breakout. AAON, same. Snow, little bull rectangle, bullish 15. This could be a great 30-minute high trade. That's a beautiful 15. Let's put snow in a window. All right, I got alarms going off. RRX. I said if it opened flat. All right, snow. All right, snow looks good. DVA, alarm, nothing to do. Nilly, low alarm, nothing to do. Intel's trying to make a little bottom here. Shoot, our STE gap down. Okay, we have the 200s though. So even though that's a nasty gap down, the only negative, I guarantee it, is going to be the stupid spread. Otherwise, I'll bet we would have an open profit. Yeah, see, the stupid spreads are 15, which is me. That's my bid at 15. by $4. See that's just the major problem with these earnings spreads. I can't like unless you want a short stock to hedge a little bit. We're kind of just sitting back in hope mode. It stinks. But that's the game we trade. So I guess gotta, relax. All right, RRX gaps